Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. On a vast and desolate plain, a youth gazed into the distance, where the endless blood river enveloped half of the sky. I was killed, yet the flame-wind ancient country did nothing. The youth's eyes were cold, now that the black-robed has grown insolent, occupying vast territories and establishing a divine kingdom rivaling the two ancient countries. I want to see if the two ancient countries will continue to tolerate this. Emperor Qing, primogenitor Yang Feng, Thunder Ancestor, can you three really endure this? The youth mused silently. He was none other than Di Yuan, reincarnated. Knowing he didn't have enough capacity to cultivate into an ultimate realm life form, he wouldn't return to the Flame-Wind royal family. He knew that there were some in the royal family who wished him dead. If he dared return to the royal family, his identity would likely be leaked to that black-robed individual soon. Emperor Qing and the others might be in seclusion. Most of their energy is focused outward, only coming out of seclusion when they rest and relax. As for me, my most urgent task now is to comprehend a complete great Tao. The youth thought, better to rely on oneself than others. His true realm is the peak of the second level of the God King realm. Due to consuming countless creatures to aid his cultivation, he had also deciphered 5 ultimate realm secret techniques, making him quite exceptional among the emperors of the Flame-Wind ancient country. In terms of realm accumulation, he ranks near the top among the emperors. In the Flame-Wind ancient country, without relying on the primordial bloodline, just by utilizing some primordial treasures, it's common to become an ultimate realm life form with deeper realm accumulation. Di Yuan, Emperor Chu, and Di Zhofeng were such cases. Under normal circumstances, Di Yuan could dominate the world, until he met Luo Feng, who possessed the Star Tower, and was utterly defeated. If I can comprehend more ultimate realm secret techniques, maybe I can make a breakthrough. The youth stepped forward, vanishing without a trace. The establishment of Galaxy Divine Kingdom has all parties of the Land of Origin watching, waiting for the reaction of the two ancient countries. Night. Galaxy Divine Kingdom, capital. Establishing a divine kingdom is easy, but to sustain it stably and stand alongside the two ancient countries is still quite challenging. Luo Feng sat high in a 9-story pavilion, drinking alone, given the pride of the two countries' ancestors. Whether they can tolerate the existence of Galaxy Divine Kingdom is still hard to say. Haha, I'm really looking forward to the ancestors of the two countries taking action, to also test my skills' weaknesses. Luo Feng was quite eager to clash with the ancestors of the two countries. As he delved deeper into the secret patterns of the Star Tower, his blood river became ever more mysterious and terrifying, yet finding worthy opponents became more difficult. Not even the combined forces of the 8 great emperors are worth mentioning. Thus, the collective forces of all emperors and monarchs are useless too. Only Emperor Qing, the East Extreme Domain ancestor, and the two countries' ancestors pose some challenge. Master, there is a visitor. Morosa appeared silently beside him. I've already noticed. Luo Feng looked into the distance. A faint bloody fluctuation swept across as a middle-aged man appeared somewhat disheveled. Preparing for establishing a divine kingdom, I was ready for the two ancient countries to take action, always maintaining the domain of the Star Tower, but the first to come turned out to be the time-space demon. Luo Feng shook his head silently. He never underestimated the two ancient countries, so even the body he sat in was condensed from the endless blood river. A single thought could unleash devastating power. With continuous use, Luo Feng also became more adept in operating the Star Tower. The king's methods are truly formidable. The disheveled middle-aged man approached with a smile, that endless blood river, containing infinite life mysteries. It can even penetrate through past and future, pervading everything. Even a shadow of mine reflected in time and space couldn't avoid it. If it were a complete great Tao of life, it would indeed resemble a river of life, capable of penetrating past and future. Luo Feng, being at the second realm of God King level in the realm of life, purely managed the Star Tower, centralizing on the mysteries of life. While he thoroughly mastered many of its secret patterns, such as creating 8 branches techniques, others he didn't fully understand, yet he could still operate them. The domain he wields has already affected the past and the future, making it hard for any concept of life to escape its permeation. I've long heard of the name of the time-space demon, Luo Feng said. The middle-aged man, looking at the silver-cloaked, gold-faced man before him, could see with his realm that this silver-cloaked, gold-faced man was a terrifying aggregation of energy. Once unleashed, this force could obliterate everything, unmatched within the source continent. This ruler of the galaxy must be on the path of the great Tao of life, and has surpassed the God-King level. The time-space demon sensed the terrifying nature of this power. These existences on the pathway of life become more troublesome as they progress. As an enlightened, time-space demon knew well. In the early stages, the pathway of life excels in preserving life, with weaker killing power. But as it progresses, the path of life becomes more and more unpredictable and mysterious. Because it can target all life forms, fundamentally infiltrating, distorting, and destroying them. If it doesn't kill you, it can greatly weaken your power. And you still can't kill him. What a tough opponent for both Flame, Wind and Thunder, encountering a dreadful existence on the pathway of life, already invincible under the power restrictions of the source continent. The time-space demon felt some schadenfreude. The source continent, the backyard for primogenitor Yang Feng and Thunder Ancestor. Most treasures ultimately end up in their hands. The emergence of the galaxy ruler came to snatch their spoils. His competitiveness far surpasses the three alien clans by a great margin. The king should know what we three alien race powerhouses desire the most. The time-space demon said, convinced that this masked ruler of galaxy should be one of the powerhouses from the land of origin. However, even he couldn't see through the true identity of the galaxy ruler now. 4 kinds of treasures. Luo Feng said. Yes, mainly the special life remnants and the secret technique left by Yuan. The time-space demon nodded. I believe with the king's strength, there's a great chance of obtaining such treasures. I am always open for the king to trade with me, and I assure you, the terms I offer will certainly satisfy the king. In his eyes, the galaxy ruler must be beyond the godly king level, and the treasures obtained from the land of origin were surely extraordinary. Such a significant client. Take a look. What can these 5 secret treasures be exchanged for in your possession? Luo Feng waved his hand, releasing the 5 spoils of war he got from Di Yuan: a cloak, an abyss pearl, armor, combat boots, gloves. The time-space demon chuckled upon seeing them. Are these the weapon secret treasures left by Di Yuan after his death? The primogenitor Yang Feng is indeed stingy, preparing only early-stage Divine Emperor's treasures for his clan's younger generations. Early-stage Divine Emperor treasures? Luo Feng felt intrigued. Has the galaxy ruler not left the land of origin yet, knowing nothing about the outside world? The time-space demon instantly realized upon seeing this. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed, I haven't traveled there and know very little. The time-space demon smiled happily. From the ultimate realm of God King to beyond God King level, this step is a qualitative transformation. Once beyond the God King level, there are no great Tao for guidance, and everything must be explored in darkness. One never knows if the path they find themselves is right or wrong. The time-space demon lamented, sometimes, taking the wrong path still elevates one's power. However, reaching a point may lead to many issues and possibly prevent any further advancement. Luo Feng nodded. He knew. At the 3rd realm of the godly king tier, the great Tao provides guidance. Above God King, one gropes in complete darkness, relying solely on oneself. Hence, in the special grade inheritance, there's a challenge for cultivators to create higher realm secret technique in a lower realm, which prepares them for future exploration in the dark to advance further. The powerhouses above the God King come from billions of worlds and belong to different factions, naturally addressed differently. The time-space demon explained, some are referred to as Divine Emperor Realm, some as Divine Emperor's Realm, others as Witch Ancestor Realm, and some as Tao Lord Realm. Because relying on bloodline cultivation is mainstream. Because it's the simplest, over 99% of powerhouses are from the bloodline faction, the time-space demon said. The bloodline faction is generally referred to as Divine Emperor Realm. Therefore, that's the most commonly used title. The Divine Emperor Realm divides into 4 stages: Early Divine Emperor, Middle Divine Emperor, Late Divine Emperor, and Perfect Divine Emperor. Like the so-called Downlord realm, it too is divided into first step Downlord, second step Downlord, third step Downlord, fourth step Downlord. Different appellations, all divide into 4 steps. 4 steps out of darkness. The 4th step is commonly known as the half-primordial realm. The time-space demon didn't mind sharing this common knowledge. The half-primordial realm represents a limit. Only by breaking this limit can one become a primordial life. Like Yuan, he is a very powerful primordial life. Luo Feng understood. After God King, 4 steps out of darkness reach the half-primordial level. And beyond that is primordial life. All these weapon secret treasures, their contained mysteries decide the level. The time-space demon continued, these 5 secret treasures of yours, all early-stage divine emperor treasures are well made, quite suitable for God Kings. To be honest, these secret treasures are of little use to me. The time-space demon watched Luo Feng, smiling, but since it's our first transaction, I'll give the king a hand. I happen to have a late-stage divine emperor's life-type secret treasure, which might be of some use to the king. Let's exchange this armor and this pearl then, said the time-space demon. Upon hearing this, both being early-stage divine emperor treasures, a set of armor is worth much more than gloves, combat boots, or cloaks. Only that abyss pearl could compare in value. The time-space demon obviously chose the 2 most expensive items. Rest assured, I won't take advantage. Once you leave the land of origin, you'll understand. This trade is actually at a loss for me, the time-space demon said smiling. All right, I agree to the trade. Luo Feng didn't mince words. To be honest, he thought little of the 5 treasures from Di Yuan. Because the infinite space treasure vault could also exchange for secret treasures, according to those introductions, many treasures could be used up to the half-primordial level. For example, the one worth 50,000 reward points could weaken all attacks below half-primordial life level by 90%. From those secret treasure descriptions, some appeared to be conceptually made, probably casually created by primordial life, suitable for divine emperor level usage. Like the 5 secret treasures used by Di Yuan, they were relatively inferior. In the infinite space, whether it's inheritances or treasures, the value is extremely high. The only problem is that reward points are hard to obtain. Luo Feng thought, I also need to be very cautious with my reward points. The time-space demon said with a smile, I will arrange an incarnation to deliver the treasures. He didn't carry any valuable items with him when he came to meet Luo Feng. He carefully hid many treasures across vast distances, transporting them to the land of origin carefully, and only took out some for each trade. Luo Feng sat there, patiently waiting. Soon, another figure of the time-space demon broke through the air, also bringing the items for the trade. The 2 figures of time-space demon merged into one. He smiled and flipped his hand, revealing a drop of blue water, which gradually transformed into the shape of a flying boat. This is a mysterious late-stage divine emperor level escape-type flying boat. In the future, when you leave the source world, you will encounter many dangers, and it will be of great use then. Luo Feng reached out to take it. A drop of blue water fell into his palm. Luo Feng's thoughts penetrated, quickly mastering this secret treasure. The droplet naturally transformed into the shape of a flying boat. A late-stage divine emperor life-type secret treasure. Luo Feng had already glimpsed the secret patterns contained within this treasure. Although he could immediately determine that it was far less complex than the Star Tower, at present, he could only activate a mere portion of the Star Tower's potential. Similarly, he could only activate a very small part of this water droplet. As power permeated the treasure, Luo Feng felt the heaviness of this droplet, which existed tens of thousands of times more solidly than his own life form. Despite all his effort, he couldn't budge it in the slightest. I can sense the entire source world. With the help of the water drop flying boat, Luo Feng could sense every part of the source world, including the 3,000-dimensional spaces of the primordial cosmos. With just a thought, he could reach any place on the land of origin. But the 3,000 primordial cosmoses were vaguely protected by the supreme rules. If he ventured in recklessly, he might face severe consequences. The sensing range of this flying boat is extremely broad. Within its range, you can arrive with just a thought, time-space demon said, and it is like a world of life, incomparably heavy, capable of shielding you from many dangers. Especially for you youngsters with weak strength, going outside the source world without a protective item will easily lead to death. Is it very dangerous outside? Luo Feng inquired. Extremely dangerous. Time-Space Demon said, those who can walk out of the source world are no ordinary strong beings. These strong beings, very few are creatures from the source world. The vast majority come from other billions of worlds. They can be collectively referred to as cultivators. Cultivators, with all kinds of array of methods. You just left the land of origin and are unaware of many arts, making it easy to fall into a trap, Time-Space Demon said with a smile. Luo Feng listened intently. No matter what, cultivators are ultimately from the same camp as us, Time-Space Demon said. Those innate primordial life forms are our true enemies. They are born outside the braided cage and are primordial life forms, but the vast majority of them have low intelligence and comprehension, unable to unearth much bloodline power, their strength only at the level of Divine Emperor. These ones with lower intelligence are called low-level primordial life. These are also opponents for us practitioners, Time-Space Demon said. As for stronger high-level primordial life and so on, best not to think about it. Meeting them will certainly lead to death, and even hiding an avatar in the homeland source world may involve death. Even the homeland avatar must die. Luo Feng was horrified. The supreme rules can't shelter them? Nothing is absolute, Time-Space Demon snickered. The supreme rules themselves are hard to ensure. Hard to ensure themselves? Luo Feng was puzzled. The innate primordial life clan is very large, with extremely powerful forces, far beyond our cultivator faction, Time-Space Demon said. Even Senior Yuan and others are resisting the innate primordial life clan. But overall, we are at a disadvantage. To my knowledge, there are some source worlds that have been devoured by the innate primordial life clan, Time-Space Demon lamented. Luo Feng was shocked. Some source worlds. Source worlds, such gigantic entities led by supreme rules, could also be devoured. Did you think Yuan left many treasure lands on the land of origin for no reason? Time-Space Demon lightly shook his head. It's because the entire cultivator faction is at a disadvantage in the struggle with the innate primordial life clan. I once saw with my own eyes a gigantic creature invade a world where practitioners gathered. Even the primordial life from our practitioner side couldn't block it and were ripped to shreds, Time-Space Demon said. I instantly self-annihilated my avatar to escape death. Among the creatures of that world, very few survived. Luo Feng listened in bewilderment. Devour source worlds. A gigantic creature invades a world, even the practitioner's primordial life couldn't block and were shredded. Compared to this level, indeed, he was too weak. Outside the source world, it's very cruel, Time-Space Demon said, seeing Luo Feng's expression. I also have to grasp every opportunity to break through and teleport to various source worlds, hoping to gain more chances to advance further on the cultivation path. Time-Space Demon looked at Luo Feng, seeing him as a kindred spirit. Countless kindred spirits continue forward in darkness. Even those like Yuan standing at the highest, also arduously resist greater forces. Time-Space Demon left, and the Two Realms Palace Master and One Far Tower Master also visited Luo Feng, clearly believing that with Luo Feng's strength, he should obtain special life remnants and secret skill techniques. Luo Feng attempted to sell the other 3 Divine Emperor secret treasures left by Di Yuan, cloak, combat boots, and gloves. But these early-stage Divine Emperor treasures were not appreciated by the Two Realms Palace Master and One Far Tower Master. Time-Space Demon was right. Among the cheap items, only the armor and beads have higher value. Luo Feng also learned about information outside the source world from the Two Realms Palace Master and One Far Tower Master, neither of whom concealed anything, voluntarily sharing a lot. The more he learned, the heavier Luo Feng's heart became. The source world is a cradle, sheltering source life forms. Outside, it's a place of darkness. Currently, I'm not even at the ultimate realm, still too weak. Luo Feng's once unyielding pride in having invincible power on the land of origin had dissipated, but he was also aware of both his shortcomings and strengths. The shortcoming was a rather low realm, merely the second realm of Godly King. The strength was the great Tao of life and death, as a fusion Tao, evidently extremely formidable. It was a path far surpassing others at the same level. And he also had the Star Tower to comprehend. The Galaxy Divine Kingdom, nearly as significant as the two ancient countries, naturally attracted some enemies of the two ancient countries to seek refuge actively. Ruler. Emperor Gui Shu's eyes were red with reverence. In my previous life, I was Li He God King, holding a blood-sea vendetta with Di Yang, Di Shi, Di Wu of the Flame-Wind ancient country. My wife, 3 sons, 2 daughters, and all my clan were slaughtered by those 3 emperors. After reincarnation, I have always wanted revenge. However, I have only targeted the 3 lines of Di Yang, Di Shi, Di Wu, without affecting others. Luo Feng, in his silver robe and golden mask, sat on the throne, looking below, nodding slightly. I have heard of the matters of Li He God King. Emperor Gui Shu respectfully said, I sincerely follow the ruler, and ask for the ruler's acceptance. Revenge, too difficult indeed. Those that could be killed, had long been killed. The remaining are too hard to deal with. Di Yang, Di Shi, Di Wu, only made Emperor Gui Shu see no hope. Upon hearing that the galaxy ruler killed Di Yuan, he decided to align himself. I like those who value sentiment and justice, not the despicable, Luo Feng said, overlooking below. Gui Shu, from today, you are a member of my galaxy divine country. Yes, Emperor Gui Shu responded respectfully. Emperor Gui Shu, come with me. Moli on the side said. Now Moli was the steward of the entire galaxy divine country, with enough power to manage these arrogant powerful godly kings. Watching Gui Shu leave, Luo Feng found it amusing. In the future, when I reveal my identity, I wonder what brother Gui Shu will think. Luo Feng mused. Gui Shu had a blood-sea vendetta with Di Yang and the 3 emperors, and Luo Feng also supported his revenge. The emperors of the Flame-Wind ancient country, the monarchs of the Thunder ancient country, there were some Luo Feng admired and others he disliked, as well as a few who made him feel murderous intent. Recently, God's kings under me have been increasing, Luo Feng pondered. Recently joined godly kings numbered 16, among them, Luo Feng familiar with 2 Emperor Gui Shu and the Cloud Sky God King. Cloud Sky God King was the only female godly king in the Reincarnation Tower, and this time she joined the Galaxy Divine Country with her Daoist partner. Since forming enmity with the Thunder ancient country, the Cloud Sky God King had been fleeing outside, never revealing her Daoist partner. This time, the 2 Daoist couples could finally live openly together. Flame Wind ancient country, Qingdu. Emperor Qing Palace. Galaxy Divine Country, having established for a period, I believe the 3 alien clans have also visited this ruler. He should also be well informed about outside the source world. Emperor Qing gazed outside. It's time to meet this galaxy ruler. He stood there, and with just a thought, an invisible power traversed distant space, already reaching the capital of the Galaxy Divine Country. In the capital, inside the palace. Luo Feng and Moli simultaneously looked to the outside, both perceiving a terrifying power remotely transmitted, already reaching the limit of Origin Continent's might. Yet no great disturbance was caused, the heavens and earth remained peaceful. Immense yet restrained. Master, he feels terrifying. I am far from being his match. Moli felt his heart tremble. In front of this dreadful power, he could not hold long and would soon face death. It's an existence above godly king, Luo Feng said. The 3 alien clans, after all, come from the outside, their power suppressed to the limit of primal chaos realm. So Luo Feng handled them easily. But this existence at present. Luo Feng had to be cautious. What friend is this, I wonder? Luo Feng initiated a thought, faintly scarlet waves appearing around the capital, blocking that enormous invisible power. Emperor Qing, greeting the galaxy ruler. A clear, cold voice resonated. A blue-clothed man appeared within the capital, then, with a single step, reached the front of the palace's main gate. He had not directly descended inside the palace but stood outside the main gate, symbolizing goodwill. Emperor Qing's visit is an honor for the Galaxy Divine Country, Luo Feng's voice echoed, the palace's main gate opening wide. Emperor Qing stepped inside. Just 2 steps. Emperor Qing reached a 9-story tower within the palace, where Luo Feng had already set a banquet, and Moli stood by serving. Finally, I get to meet the galaxy ruler today, Emperor Qing smiled as he approached, suddenly astonished looking at Moli on the side. Who is this old servant? He had many observation methods in operation in his view. The galaxy ruler is an incarnate of a terrifying blood river, with weight and grandeur. But this old servant was like an abyss, hard to fathom. He couldn't see through the galaxy ruler, but surprisingly couldn't see through this old servant either. It's my sector beast, Luo Feng replied. Emperor Qing smiled. I was wondering how the origin continent simultaneously sees the rise of 2 strong presences. It turns out this old servant is a sector beast. The galaxy ruler is truly extraordinary, able to cultivate a sector beast. At Emperor Qing's level, naturally, he didn't mind a sector beast. Sector beasts can't break the fate limit, forever just within the ultimate realm. This video will end here.